Today on the World Triathlon podcast, we welcome Beth Potter. After wrapping up 2020 with a World Cup gold in Valencia and silver in Azucena, Beth has taken lockdown life by the throat and literally run with it. In March, she powered to Arena Games gold in London, and a week later, Rio 2016 Olympic 10,000 metre runner was setting world record times over the 5,000 metre distance at a track meet in the north of England. Rotterdam Arena Games saw her take silver behind Sophie Coldwell on Sunday. So, Beth, welcome to the World Triathlon podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's been a mad couple of weeks, but yeah.
Yeah. Are you back in the UK now, though, after Rotterdam?
Yeah, I'm back in Leeds, and I'm back training, although that's the only thing I can do at the moment. So it's quite nice to do something in between training in the house.
So how was Rotterdam? Obviously, like, the London Arena Games went brilliantly. Rotterdam looked like it went equally well. You just had a lot of fun, enjoyed it?
Yeah, the Super League format is really fun, and I don't usually get the opportunity to race a relay because, well, I never get picked for them. So it's actually really nice to do some really fast stuff, and I kind of used it as a bit of a springboard for the World Triathlon Series. Just getting race sharp, and I think that's what I kind of missed a little bit going into Hamburg last year. I hadn't raced for a year. And I was just really rusty. I just felt really slow. So it's been quite nice to kind of sharpen that kind of top end stuff while still kind of doing it off a big base. So it's been fun, and it's like, I feel like if you can't have fun there, then you just can't have fun racing at all.
Yeah, I guess everything from, like, I mean, the uniforms, right? The whole, like, the look and the feel and the vibe in there. And
yeah, I think it's fun that you mix the format up, and it's just like three really hard brick sessions back to back.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really hard training session. So yeah, it's been good, and I think I was a bit tired coming into Rotterdam, actually, just off the back of that 5K. Like, I haven't really been too easy on myself in training, so maybe judged that one a bit wrongly. But Sophie was really difficult to beat on the day, so hats off to her.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, so let's come to Super League. It would be good to start with that 5K. It was a meet in the north of England, but there was a lot of buzz around it beforehand, even, wasn't there? I mean, I guess just the lack of racing meant that there was a lot of people coming from all over the UK to take it on, right? Everyone was kind of talking about it.
Yeah, so I actually did the same track meet. It's not a track, it's a kind of flat cycle track. So it's tarmac, so it's road. So I did it last August as a kind of prep in time for Hamburg. And I thought at the time it went well. I ran a 15:24. I was super happy with that. It was a PB. And yeah, I think I kind of went into it with the same attitude a couple of weekends ago. Like, we don't have many races, so you got to grab every opportunity you get at the moment. So, I went there off the back of a pretty big week of training. And I kind of wanted to test myself to see, because I usually like to taper for run races because, I just like to run fast. So I want to make sure I run fast. And I didn't really have that going into this race. So I was trying to see how I would stack up off a kind of hard bike week. And in my head, I was thinking, right, let's just try and run a PB here. 15:15 would be really good. I'd be really happy with that. And the night before, I asked if I could go in the sub 15:30 race because I wanted to be pushed the whole way, and I was pushed the whole way. Every single meter of that race, I was pushed. So yeah, to come away with 14:41, honestly, I still can't believe it. I'm still like in shock that I managed to do that. So that's given me a big confidence boost for the start of the season, anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. And how did it feel, like, just to have suddenly everywhere afterwards? It was particularly, I suppose, given the lack of racing and things, and there's been a lot of more in, I guess, the men in the World Triathlon have been posting a lot of stuff about fast 5K times and so on, or I've seen more of it than I have of the women anyway. But like, it's just, the chat about those sort of times is everywhere, right? And so everyone had an opinion about it, and it was all over the news. And
yeah, I think part of the reason it got so much like attention is because we have park run. Park runs everywhere in the world, and park runs 5K. So everyone does park run, or most people do park run, so they know what they run for 5K. So yeah. I think that's part of the reason it went a bit viral. And then obviously, because there's this bit of a crossover between the triathlon and the athletics world, it kind of, I remember having some messages from like Cara Goucher from the States, and Gwen messaged me as well. And I was just like, this is so cool. I was like, because I feel like I was relatively unknown. Like, I know I'm obviously like I'm a good runner, but like relatively unknown in like tri circles, and I feel like in the American side, like I don't think people would know who I am, but it was just, yeah, I got so many really nice messages from like people I didn't even know would know who I was, so that was really cool. But yeah, no, I think, yeah, part of it was that like there's not many opportunities to race at the moment, so you just go for it, and that's definitely what I did on the 3rd of April. I think it was 3rd of April.
And at the time, did you feel like, you know, things were clicking that well? That
Yeah, I mean, I actually only broke 3 minutes for a K on the Tuesday night before the race. And then, you know, I knew it was fast. Like I knew I had to commit, otherwise I was going to be out the back on my own. So I went with it, and I was still out the back, but I had about 4 or 5 guys beside me. So, you know, I knew I had to commit, and they were reading lap time, like kilometer times out to me, and you know, usually I would go through in like 3 minutes something, but it was like 2, and then it was always like a minute quicker, and I was like, wow, like this is fast. Is he standing at the right point in the race? Like I'm sure he's got this wrong. So that was my initial kind of reaction, and then it kind of dawned on me that, so I was kept thinking, oh, get to 3K, you'll be fine once you get to 3K, and I kind of thought, well, maybe the wheels will fall off now. Like this is quite fast. And then I got to like almost a lap to go, and we went through the finish line for the last time until the finishing. And it said 11:30 something on the clock, and I was like, okay, so add 3 minutes into that, that's 14 something, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, no, this must be wrong. I must be doing the maths wrong. This is not right.
and you were still feeling all right at that point as well. You
Yeah,
were
still,
like,
you know, like I was like, I need to really dig in now. I can't let this go out the window. Just dig in, and I actually picked some men off on that last 800 meters. But yeah, it's just a bit surreal. Like a very low key race in the north of England on a Saturday night in a kind of partial lockdown. I just did not expect to run that, and yeah,
brilliant.
I'm really happy, obviously, but it's a bit mad.
What did you do?
My first reaction across the line was, is that a joke? Is the clock being calibrated? Can someone confirm that? And everyone was like, oh, it's a British record. And then someone said, it's a world record. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I know it's a British record because I know Paula Radcliffe's time is like 51. A world record? Me? I'm just a girl from Scotland. Like, there's lots of pictures of me with my hands across my mouth because I just was speechless. For once in my life, I had no words.
And isn't that, yeah, there's one picture that's everywhere, and there's a guy in like a high-vis jacket, but right behind you with a clipboard or something.
Yeah, it was everywhere. It's on BBC and everywhere. It was just the race organizer taking a picture.
Yeah, right.
Mad. Yeah.
And is there ratification, like the formal thing? I mean, you know, it's a formality. The time is the time anyway. But like in terms of it ratified, is that?
It's unfortunately no. I was out riding with a friend on Sunday morning, and I got a call to say that unfortunately it's not going to be ratified. So I was a bit bummed out when I heard that, but I've come to terms with it. Like, at least it's going to be top of the all-time list. No one can take that away from me. I ran 14:41, and it might not be a world record, but I'm just going to call it world record for now until it's beaten. And also, like, you know, like there was no drug testers there, obviously, because I wasn't planning on running a world record. I didn't know that was going to happen. So obviously that's part of it. It's not going to be ratified because there was no drug testing on site. But I have been drug tested since the race. I was drug tested like less than 24 hours after the race. So, you know, like, you know, that has been done. So like that takes the doubt away, sort of thing, if anyone was doubting it. But yeah. And I think, yeah, I just think it's a shame, but oh well, like, it's still going to be top of the all-time list, and I know it's my PB, so yeah,
totally. And it'll make you presumably even hungrier to get back to those start lines, the World Triathlon start line. And the season ended, I mean, it feels like a long time ago, but the season ended so well in 2020. Hamburg, maybe, like you said, you weren't kind of that pleased with how it had gone, but everyone was race rusty, and there were so many variables there that people had to factor in, right? And to then go silver and gold speaks for itself. So did that kind of make the delay to the start of the new season a bit easier to deal with because you knew where you were, or were you just even hungrier to get back to racing?
Actually after Hamburg, I didn't want to do any more racing. I was really like bummed out, and I just didn't fancy it. And I actually had a bit of a panic attack at Hamburg, and I was walking onto the pontoon, and I honestly nearly did a 180 and walked straight back off because I just didn't want to be there.
Oh, wow.
Didn't feel ready, and I just didn't feel ready. I'd only done 2 weeks of swimming in the pool, and swimming is obviously my weak point, and I really need to feel confident in the water to be feeling good about how it's going to go. So that was really difficult, and it was only my coach that kind of not bullied, I wouldn't say bullied me into doing it, but it was like, I think you should race. I think you need to end the season on a high. So we went far as a trainer, and he came out with me to that race, and that was really good, and I had a positive result there. And then I wanted to do another one, and then that went well, and I was almost a bit like, oh, the season's just getting going. But I had some time off and kind of reset, and then like went again. And I think it's just been consistent. I've not really missed any sessions. I just turned up. I've got a really good atmosphere and squad here in Leeds, and that all helps a lot. So I think it was good for me to get some racing in, because I find like staying away from racing too long, I don't like it. I need to be kept on my toes a little bit, the whole process of just doing a race. So I think it was quite a good shout to do those last 2 races at the end of the season.
I think so, yeah.
And also, like, it gives you, if you have a positive result, like, it gives you like that motivation to train hard in the winter. If you end on a kind of downer, then it's almost a bit harder to kind of, I don't know, pick yourself up again and go. So I had some real motivation going into winter training this winter, so that was really good.
I wonder how many people were in a similar mindset going out onto that pontoon in Hamburg.
Oh, I never want to feel like that again. That was awful. Like, I've never been brought to tears with anxiety before, and I felt that's what I was like in the hotel room before I left. Just so anxious about it. Yeah.
But was there a sense that there was anyone else feeling a similar way? Did you pick up that sort of vibe of people having just been away from the start line for so long and then into such a race?
I think there was like a bit of, I also think it was quite weird, like having, it was the first race in COVID times, and I just found everything was really spread out in Hamburg, and it was like quite, everything took so much longer, and then getting from the kind of checking in area to your bike, it was just like everything was so far away. And I felt like that just added like time pressure to it all, and just not going through the motions of like, even like getting the wetsuit on and then like panicking if I can get it off, like just everything like that. It was just the little things, and I think I just let that get to me too much. And I think that kind of was all encompassing, and just it was too much for me.
Yeah. Are you the sort of person that enjoys going back to a course again, knowing the setup and the course itself as well, obviously, or does it not really play into? I was just looking through, you've done sort of the Sardinian World Cups 3 times, Antwerp a couple of times. There seem to be sort of races that you were maybe going back to. Is that something that?
Well, funny you say that, because I've actually never done the same course twice, because the Sardinian
was different each time.
Yeah. And Antwerp, I punctured after 2 minutes on the bike, so I've never actually completed the same triathlon twice. Okay. So and I think the first couple, Yokohama's going to be a new one for me, Leeds is going to be a new one for me. So I'm still not been back to a race yet. Hopefully I'll get there. But everything's always a new experience, and I think that's really good for me, because obviously coming into the sport in 2017, and I've not actually done that many triathlons. I feel like I learn so much every single time I do one. Like it's just a different course or different different courses and different competitors. So I learn so much every time I do a triathlon, which is good, because ultimately it's the experience that I'm lacking.
So when you're preparing for a race, how much research are you doing into the course itself? And during the course recce, are you like having to be seriously sort of switched on and checking stuff out, or do you just kind of?
Well, I've got like like obviously I train with Alistair and Johnny, so they've done all the courses, so I'll ask them a lot of questions.
Uh-huh.
And my coach has been has been coaching the athletes here in Leeds for a long time, so he's very familiar with courses, and like he does definitely help me in terms of advising me which ones would be best suited to me. So I think that's really important, having those people on board, like really knowledgeable people like I trust as well. But yeah, I will definitely look at the course, and before, like for ours of China last year, I checked out the gradient of that hill and went and found a hill in Leeds and did it in hill reps. So yeah, I'm quite like, I need to be on it with stuff like that, just because I don't have like the bike skills, or like I don't have as good bike skills as everyone else maybe.
So you said you don't have, you're still in a way building up that kind of race experience just by virtue of not having been doing triathlon all that long. But obviously you came into triathlon as a serious runner, as an Olympian, and this wasn't something that you were just kind of chancing your arm at. Presumably this was something that you wanted to take on and tackle, and felt you were going to be one of the best at. So when you started, what were the goals that you were particularly had in mind? Where were you wanting to take it?
Well, I don't feel like I do things like half-heartedly. Like I moved here because I felt like this was the best place to do triathlon, and I gave up a lot to do this. I left a career in athletics. I left a full-time physics job in a school. Friends and people in London. It was a big move, and it was definitely hard. And it's been challenging along the way, and there's definitely been moments of like, why am I doing this? This is a bad idea. But I think it's beginning to pay off. And I was like, people always told me it was never going to happen overnight, and patience is not something I'm good with. So it has taken 3-4 years, and yeah, but it's like, I've enjoyed it. It's been nice to see like progression every single year, and it's almost like going back to being like really young again and taking like big PBs off all the time. It's been good, and a bonus, my running's got better. So they always told me my running would never get better, and it's got better. So
so was the athletics career easier to keep alongside the teaching career, and then, or was it just, if I'm taking up triathlon, I need to be in Leeds, I want to be where there's an opportunity with the Brownlees to train and that crew there? So
yeah, I think like, especially when I ran, like there was definitely, I could fit a full-time, or not, yeah, I could fit a job around it. Full-time was quite hard work, but I still managed it. I qualified for Commonwealth Games and Olympics while I was teaching 5 days a week. So it wasn't easy, but it was manageable, and yeah, I enjoyed it. At the end of the day, I like doing that. I'm not someone that likes to sit around all day, and like I like to have stuff going on. I probably have too much going on most of the time, but I think with triathlon, it's just the volume of training is just too much. It was, to have a job around it, it was too much. And I was 25 when I moved to Leeds, yeah, and I just wanted to. I just felt like if I didn't do it now, I didn't want to regret anything, and I thought I needed to give it a go. And yeah, I was all in. Yeah.
And how did it go in those early stages compared to how you had maybe thought? What is it like switching sport from?
Yeah, it was awful. I found it really hard.
Really?
But yeah, I found it really, like, I think I was just really tired all the time. Just found like I just was getting smashed at everything. I was getting smashed at swimming, smashed on the bike, and then I'd train with boys for running, and I get smashed with that. And I just came away always thinking, oh, I'm just not good at anything. Like, it was just really tough. And I think as soon as you stop, I had a bit of a turning point where I just was like, I need to just focus on myself and how I'm improving. And as soon as I did that, then that was much better, because I could see a progression week on week with my own training, and like not comparing myself to others, because obviously I was training in a squad where, like the squad I train in just now, there's 4 Olympians and then me. It's like a pretty big deal. Like it's
a high bar.
Yeah, it's a high bar, but that's the thing. Like if you want to be great, you have to surround yourself with like really great athletes, and like, yeah, I want to be, if you're the average of them, and that's pretty high average. So yeah, like I didn't want it was never going to be easy, because if it's easy, then is it worth having? But yeah, it was definitely hard, and it was definitely challenging, but I just got my head down and
there was no pandering to the new girl then. It wasn't like
no, it was let's see how much she can deal with. But I can cope with it now. Like 4 years ago, I would have been sitting at home thinking, how can they do this? Like, how can they go out and do another bike ride? I have no legs, I have no arms, I'm exhausted. So, and now I'm fine. I'm one of
that
those
person.
I'm that crazy. I'm that one, yeah. So it's just a process. It just takes time, and that's what everyone always said to me. It's just going to take time, and it did. It just took time.
It was interesting talking to Kenji Nena, who made the switch from Australia to Japan like a few years ago, and his sort of formative years had been around some of the Aussie greats and Brad Carlefeld, and yeah, he was, just that concept of greatness and being around it, and being, you have to be exposed to what is possible in order to keep pushing your own dreams and what you're capable of, right?
Yeah, and I think it's good to train with people that are better than you, because you get pushed ultimately. Like, you get the best out of yourself, and I definitely have that. Day in, day out, I get pushed in training, definitely.
And so when you moved to Leeds, did you actually move in with Johnny Brown? Like, were you sharing a house as well? Is that right?
Yeah, he messaged me, and it was like, oh, let me know if you need any help with like accommodation or anything, like just give me a shout. And I just said, oh, well, do you know anyone that needs a housemate? And he's like, well, I've got a couple spare rooms if you really fuck. And I was like, okay, yeah. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. So yeah, and that was really good as well, because obviously like one of the best in the sport. So yeah, it was awesome.
And having just come out of the Rio Games, had you already decided, was that the final term as a teacher? And then
I actually spoke with the coaches here back in the February of that year, and was like kind of flirting with the idea of maybe doing triathlon. I had been for a while. I actually remember watching Alistair and Johnny at London and really wanting to do it then. I was injured that year. I wasn't running. And I was like, oh, do I do it now? But I just felt like I could prove myself a bit more in the track. And I had a home Commonwealth Games, like Glasgow is where I'm from. So I had that to go for. And then doing so well in Glasgow, I was like, oh, I need to give the Olympics a shot. Like I'll never live it down if I don't at least try. And then obviously made the Olympic team, and I kind of put it on the back burner for a bit. And then after Olympics, after like a disappointing race, and I was actually sick the night before the race, and I was just really kind of down after that, and I just felt like I needed a change. So I actually had like a month off work in September, in which I kind of made this decision, and then handed my notice in, worked up until the Christmas term ending, and then on the 9th of January moved to Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to argue with someone who's just returning from an Olympics and about to move into with the Brownlees. You sort of just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I just felt like I needed to be in the best place, and I don't want to make any decisions rashly. I did have a lot of time to think about it, and I just felt like this would be the best place for me. And it kind of coincided with my sister moving to Sheffield to do a medicine degree, so I was like, she's close by. I'll have family there if I'm struggling. So yeah, I think it was worked out perfectly.
And Johnny, full of good advice, sort of, picturing late night cups of tea and sitting around chatting and like giving. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. Like, it definitely, I think it was important for me not to get sucked into what he was doing, and then like not to try and do what he was doing as well, because that was never going to end well for me. But yeah, it was good to pick his brains, and giving good advice, and it was a good 11 months.
So up in Leeds, who obviously, like, Kate Woff is a big training buddy now, right? Who else has been a sort of big
Yeah.
influence on you over the last couple of years then? Well, not influence necessarily, but like, a help as well, and a cohort.
Yeah, I think yeah, mainly the boys, to be honest, and their training partners. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with them. Like I swim with them now, and I'm at the track at the same time. I'm in the gym at the same time. I sometimes ride with them. So yeah, like it's definitely um been a lot of that. And I train with some of the runners as well. So Laura Waitman, she's 5K runner who's based at Leeds as well. And so I've done some track sessions with Laura in the past, and obviously Kate Woff as well. So yes, it's a really good group, and
How was
yeah, I'm
the
enjoying it.
sort of, obviously you had a grounding in swimming for a long time, and then running, and then what was your bike sort of level when you?
My bike level.
Yeah.
My bike level consisted of sometimes riding my fixie to work, sometimes not. I'd never worn cleats. I'd never been attached to my bike. Um, I mean, sometimes in the summer when I was younger, I used to cycle to swimming, but swimming was only a mile away. So yeah, cycling was very was very new.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely been. I think out of the three, it's probably maybe the easiest to pick up.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Like I think you just need to spend some time on your bike and ride your bike. But obviously, I had the technique side from swimming from when I was really young. But I hadn't been in the pool really for 8 years. Apart from the occasional injury from running, I'd go and swim for a bit, but it was
Right.
only about 3 weeks at a time. So yeah, no, it was. It's yeah. Again, it's just taking time on the bike, and I think almost having the pandemic last year, it just kind of bought me an extra winter in what would have been a
Right.
summer season, and yeah, I was kind of lucky with that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty ambitious thing with basically zero bike skills, to go right. Triathlons for me, and not least as well because, like you said, you said you never get picked for mixed relays and so on, but the competition is deep, right, in the GB setup as well. So, in terms of like trying to find your way within that team as well, such big hurdles in front of yourself, it seems.
Yeah, no, and I think I've just not really I had limited opportunities to do, obviously because the girls in Britain are so good. I'm not always first in line to get the next call up, so it's been difficult. But yeah, like it's good to have some starts in World Series this year, and I've only done about two, I think, two World Series. I don't know, it's not many. And I did find that quite difficult at the start. Like the level just increased really quickly. So I would do European level and then got success there, then World Cup, and then it just increased quite rapidly. So yeah, I feel like I'm more ready now. Definitely feel more equipped, ready for what is on offer on WTS. So I think I feel more confident in my abilities now, and I don't think I had that last year, the year before. So yeah.
Yeah. And so also obviously also feeling in such good nick and putting in records and so on. When all the talk is about Tokyo, is it a bit frustrating knowing that door has been shut? Obviously the GB team was kind of selected, the women's team was selected in November, wasn't it? But or was that something that you had kind of already thought was out of reach?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's frustrating, but I guess yeah, they did what they had to do, at the end of 2019 and were selected. I guess it's just for me, I feel frustrated because I feel like this, I don't know, maybe I would have been okay to, I don't know, I really don't know until I start racing, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna look at it like that. I think there's still lots of opportunities for me this year to do well on the World Series, and I don't know, who knows, I might go for a track call up. I don't know. I just don't know. So.
Well, yeah, of course. There are other opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. I'm just taking one race at a time at the moment, and obviously, luckily, the first three races of the season have gone well, so I'm just hoping to build on that for the rest of the season.
Just briefly to touch on Arzachena again. Yeah, just straight out of the water into that hill on that bike. How was that as far as kind of races and courses that you've tackled, and Is it one that you'll be sort of heading back to? Obviously, it's, end of May is scheduled for, right? Or is it once bitten, twice shy?
I think is it after Leeds or before Leeds? I can't remember.
Before, weekend before, yeah.
All right, okay. Well, probably not then.
No.
I really enjoyed it, and I think people will maybe writing me off a little bit on, because I think before, if I had something like a really hard swim or a really hard bike, I couldn't utilize my like super strength. And I couldn't utilize that because I had used every single match to get to that point in the race. Whereas I think with that one, like maybe people were surprised that I managed to hold on, because I was biking with some really, really good girls and then managed to outrun them. So I think that's where I used to struggle before, like getting to the run in one piece. If I'd done not so much work, then yeah, I'd be fine. But if I'd really burnt all the matches, then that game over. So I think that's something that's just come with like time riding my bike and just time in the sport. And yeah, that's what was nice about doing the 5K. Like I did that off a big week with tired legs, and ran well. So I feel like I can back that a little bit more now. So yeah. Yeah.
And in Valencia, I mean, coming out of the bike, they're surrounded by Nicholas Biriggs, Lisa Turch, obviously another huge sort of 5K.
I was very
wizard.
tentative in Valencia. I actually came off my bike the day before in the bike path.
Oh.
And so I was really nervous, and that's why I was at the back of every single bike thing, and my boyfriend was having an absolute meltdown on the side of the course, like, why is she off the back again? And I was just really nervous because of coming off, and usually you have a bit of time to kind of ride it off, but I was straight into a race. And yeah, but I just kept my cool, and I just knew I had to, if I was going to make it to the front of the race in the run, I just had to do it gradually and not go off really, really hard. Just do it gradually and do it that way. So yeah, I was really happy to come away with the win there, because I'd actually struggled with a bit of a knee problem in between that one and Argentina and Valencia. Yeah, it was a bit annoying. I couldn't actually complete a track session in between those two races. But I don't know what it was. I think maybe something to do with like it being a hilly bike and a hilly run. I really hurt my knee. I couldn't really do anything. It was a bit annoying. Anyway, because I've never really done a course that's been as challenging as that. It was tough, because I think the run was hillier than we thought. Like that whole first bit was just uphill. So, but still, like I really enjoyed both those races at the end of the season. So,
and then and obviously brilliant to then have in this kind of lull to have the arena games to something to train for again and something to work on. And yeah, just sort of fascinated just briefly about everything from the like competitive treadmill running. Is that something you've ever done before?
No, never. And I actually did so I did the Zwift Pro Series in February, because the weather in Leeds was really bad at the time anyway. And I was like, oh, do you know what? I'll mix it up the Wednesday and Thursday, because Thursdays always seem to be better. So I was like, I'll do the session, which was the series, on the Wednesday, and do my long ride on Thursday. And that actually, I think, helped me get a little bit race fit, because I would get nervous before then. Every Wednesday afternoon, I was like, oh my God, right, okay, I need to get into my race mode. And it was just like, you're just in your garage looking at a computer screen, and it's like, you're just getting nervous. It's really weird. And then, yeah, so I did enjoy that, and I think that helped. And then I was doing some kind of, only did a couple of them, but with Kate and another girl called Ruth, we did some treadmill, like curved treadmill to bike stuff. But I think the curved treadmills here at Leeds Beckett University were just so hard to run on. So I had like, was picturing the worst at Super League. I was prepared for the worst, because I couldn't even get the treadmill up to 14 kilometers an hour. It was so stiff. So then when I went to Super League, I was very pleasantly surprised. But yeah, it's odd. It's strange. It's a strange action. But
quite a specific way of doing it.
I'm looking forward to like running outside, like in a road. So that's also look forward to the next one.
And and the very last sort of leg of that last race, when you're kind of emerging from the pool and running around the edge of the pool and then onto the treadmill.
Yeah.
Just sort of thinking about like the heat and the chlorine inhaling and all of that sort of stuff. It must have been quite something as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. It was really fun. And it just shows how, clinical you have to be on your transitions. Like there's just no margin for error. I feel like in an Olympic distance or even a sprint, you've got like a window of opportunity, but it's like, a second could really cost you 10 seconds in this kind of racing, because, if there's a group of you and you get on the bike, that just goes out the window. So you really have to be really clean in all conditions. Yeah.
Well, and sort of rapidly hat off, goggles off is one thing, but hat on, goggles on is completely, like, if you're feeling a bit tense and you can't get it on, I can imagine things start to melt down a little bit.
Kate and I were practicing that, actually. We were just doing a sprint set on a Friday, and our coach would we'd run from either sides of the pool, and we'd run to our hats, goggles, and then she'd start the watch when we went in. So that was really fun. Like, we'd be going off at different times. But I think that helped, because it was a bit, you're like under pressure. I think the key is to stay calm and don't panic.
Yeah,
definitely.
And looking at your avatar while you're kind of going 100%, and is that odd? Or is it, did you get
yeah, because I don't feel like it looked like it was trying that hard.
No, well, that's what
it bothered me the other day. I was like, you're not going that fast, come on.
It looked like everything was kind of in time, but obviously, there was no, the little...
I was getting frustrated. I was like, why are you not going a bit quicker? Come on. I'm working quite hard here.
Yeah.
I was really getting bothered by it, but I tried to not look at it. And I was like squinting at the screen, because I didn't realize how bad my eyesight was, but I couldn't see the numbers. I was like, how many seconds does that say? Wow. And obviously you're moving up and down as well, so it's difficult to read. But it's definitely got me race fit, I'd say. So yeah,
I mean, that best of luck with the next few weeks and getting race ready, right? I mean,
not many weeks to go, not many sessions left, really.
How's it looking? Very, very specific sort of schedule for the next couple of weeks then?
I actually just need to have a proper look at my training peaks, but I think I've got...
It's been hard since the 5K anyway, right? So
I just didn't... It was quite nice having, training to throw myself back into, because I just found that it was a nice escape from my phone, to be honest. So, the longer the session was, the better.
Right.
But I think got a couple of hard weeks on the cards, and then obviously the travel to Japan. I guess I'll have a bit of an easier week then. But just it helps now that the weather is a bit nicer in the UK as well, so it's quite nice. It does.
Well, thanks ever so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I'm sure I'll see you at a race sometime soon.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely. All right. Thanks a lot.
See you later. Bye.
Soon. Bye. A big thank you to Beth Potter. Next week on the podcast, we will hear from Morocco duo Mehdi Ezzadik and Badr Siwani, both firm friends and training partners, going for a single new flag place at Tokyo and the chance to make history as the first Moroccan Olympic triathlete. Thanks for listening.